Mm.
Nigga, y'all see this? Y'all see this? Like,
Bro,
like this
I
man
knew
is
I like
obviously evil.
let's be honest, Hillary won that election with Trump, but the government is official said, nah, y'all are fucking stupid. Y'all don't even get it right now. like Trump. And my thing is with all of them, they're all in their 70s. How much different of a person do you really think you're getting with one from Arkansas, one from country bumpkin Pennsylvania, and the other one from New York? And they're all in their 70s.
Geographic location. I just think that there should be a cap on, just the same way that, you got to be, a person has to be 35 to be president. There should be a cap on
age,
the presidency as well. Yeah.
I think it should be
you
65.
are-
I think it should
get
be
out.
35 to 65, maybe 60. Just to get.
If people can retire when they're 65 or should or whatever, why are they running a whole country and being the leader of the free world at 65 or over, or older?
But you need like a 30-year span, because that limits, like if you have 30, that's only like a 25-year. That limits so many people who could actually run for it. When you think about security clearances, you think about past history. There's just so much, like there has to be some give and take on one end of the spectrum, and I could do with 65. Maybe I would want it to be 55, but I know that's too small of an age gap. That's only 20 years.
So that goes back to what we were talking about last week with the generational gap stuff. See, that'll be my issue with people who are over 60, 65. They don't want to let stuff go. They don't want to, they're resistant to change. They're resistant to technological changes, societal changes, environmental changes, climate change, whatever. So, changing the couch. So it's like, I don't know. The 30-year gap is reasonable, and I'm sure wouldn't want nobody under 20. Anybody born after 1989, no offense to anybody born after that, but Lord have mercy. So
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Like me, I'm 30 years old. I was born in 91. You don't want me running this goddamn country. I know you don't. You do not want me.
82. I was born in 82, and I know better than to want to run this country. That's one thing. When I was younger, I wanted to do all that. I was, and all these political things in grade school and college and stuff. But when I got older, got grown, I was like, oh, that's some bullshit I would never want to do. I don't care about having my name in the books of history to have to put up with all that stuff. And you see how they age so quickly. I'm like, I couldn't imagine having the weight of the world on my shoulders for real, literally,
I
so to
just
speak.
wouldn't want to do it. I never wanted to be president. That was never a goal or dream of mine. Like, that's too stressful. It's too much work. Like, and it's like, all of them had to be, like, when I, was young, I was like, all of them got to be married. They got to look family man. It's like, I'm like, no, I got to be able to say, fuck that shit, fuck you, and fuck you too. Like, I got to be able to have the right to do that. I'm not a politically correct kind of person. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I'm the same way. No, I grew up that way, and then when I got older and I realized what it was, and I was just like, no, I'm a George Carlin, Richard Pryor type. I can't.
But that's why everybody like Trump, because he politely learned how to say fuck that and fuck you. Like, I'm gonna do what I want.
Which is true. I just think he's an idiot, but but and to me, it is what it is. I think what I had to take it down to was, for me at least, in voting, was what candidate is viable enough to even try to do something to help people who can't help themselves. It's not even about me. It's about people who are out here suffering, struggling, unemployed, struggling, whatever. So that's what I look at when I'm voting, more so than just me. It has to do with me per se and my children and their future, but especially as Blacks. But that's the main thing, because my mom voted for Bush in 2000, and I found out years later, and I was like, why would you do that? Oh, because of abortion and gay rights. You're not gay, you're not having an abortion. Why? But you're a Black woman. Born in 1951, lived through civil rights in the South. Why are you? I was confused on that, but
at the same time, if she was born in 1951, she'd be more likely to be a Republican anyway.
Yeah, but see, that's the whole thing. That's that how Black people allow the white evangelical ideologies to take them over and sway them when it comes to politics. And I'm just like, no. We're the white I mean, I go to one of the largest churches probably in the country, but especially in the state of Tennessee and in Nashville. And you know, the political ties and how people come, you know, it's always election time. They want to come and they want to whatever, because of course we got, you know, 20, 30,000 members. So, and I don't know, it's all sickening anyway. I hate it all anyway. I mean, if I could be an anarchist, I probably would, but it's just like, you know, I just think about now, you know, I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing all right for myself. You know, I do all right for my children, but what about people who can't help themselves? That's how I do it now. You know, it's because at this point it's a whole shit show regardless to me. So
yeah, but I mean, Al Gore was like our last saving hope. Like once we did not vote for Al Gore, it was pretty much I was like, y'all really not voting for this man? Like, y'all are not gonna vote for this man? Like, seriously, this man, he had a plan, he had an agenda, he had the money, he had everything in line, and he never tried to run again. And it was like, yo, they really just said, nah, yo, you're doing too much. We can't have this. Like, you're trying to make us too successful.
You know, he's from the state, so him and his father was a senator. So it was unfortunate, but
like, y'all really just like other
countries. My first
so
election.
Bad.
That was my 2000 was my first election. I was 18. I had just graduated high school.
I was in the 5th grade. I was in the 4th grade in 2000. But I was like, y'all really
holy shit
did not vote for Al Gore. Like, it's like, oh, okay, like I already know it, so I know what type of time we're on here. Like, okay, it is what it is, you know. What's going on?
You know, Florida has always been wild. So you know, when it came down to them, so you know, people be talking about Florida. I'm not shocked by Florida. I'm like, Florida's been wilding forever. That's why I hate Miami. I hate going down there, really.
Miami. I mean, I love it during soca season.
Yeah, 10 times. I don't know. In Miami, I don't know.
During soca season, I love it, but that's a different conversation for a different day.
Back weeks and shit. You know, it used to be dope back in the day, but other than that, I don't care about it. I'm like,
what's going on, Herb? Hey, let me ask you, Derek. Have you talked to Fahim?
Not personally, not since I think the week after I went to go visit him. Oh, by the way, Herbert, I got my piece.
But did you text him? Have you texted him about the wedding stuff?
No, but he knows the dating information and stuff.
So that man got a girl. I know he does. Like,
because he disappeared off the planet.
The only why
he's booed up. Come on now.
This is the only time he disappears. Like, he is literally off the map. Like, I don't care how hard that man works. He gonna find a way to contact or be a part or whatever. But
I think I texted him twice and I called him yesterday. I ain't hear nothing back, so I was like,
did you ask the wife? Because he talking. I'm telling you, like, I know he is, like, and he don't want to be roasted.
No. I don't know, because I asked the wife and she said no.
He talking to somebody.
I mean,
or he out of the country. He could be out of the country.
Hey, maybe.
I would have said something though. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he would have said something.
He said he was going to Puerto Rico. He did say he was going. He just never.
That's
said
in October though.
Yeah, he never specified September. I mean, maybe
or September. Yeah.
No, man. I feel like I need to go drive by his man house and apologize.
You might. I'm sorry.
He literally disappeared off the map. Like, off the map, he disappeared. Like, he don't respond to text messages.
I mean, have you texted him?
I have. I've texted him about stock shit. I've texted him, but he just disappeared off the map. And he'll post some bullshit like, "Oh, I was just fasting from my phone." He'll post some bullshit like that and be with a girl. Like, I mean, I know.
I know he say he be going out into the wilderness and camping without his phone for the weekend. So I don't know. I mean,
bro, it's been longer than the weekend.
Like, he might be dead in his apartment. I'm telling you, he talking. It may not be that girl, but he talking to a girl. There's no way he don't.
I feel like we roasting him too hard, man.
Nah, we've been in school with him for 10 years. Anytime he disappeared, what he doing? If it wasn't some alpha shit, he was with a girl. And he'll tell you he with some alpha shit. He's not gonna tell you if he were the girl. He'll tell you after the mission has been completed.
Man, what did y'all do to this man in undergrad to make him this?
We didn't do anything. He did it to himself.
That
we
was
were just
all
there.
him.
We just there. We were just there to facilitate the roast.
Why
when
y'all
it was
did
dumb.
What y'all did to that man?
Facilitate. Steve, you talking like you wasn't there.
Bro, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm innocent. Y'all did this to the man yourself.
Damn, Steve. Talk about
y'all did this to the man yourself.
You used to set up smoke bombs when I'm
deniability
sleeping, bro.
ass.
I've never had somebody take the time out to send up smoke bombs while I'm sleeping.
Bro, what you talking about?
With vinegar in it. Yes, I'm sleeping on the couch. He did it multiple times. He sets up a smoke bomb.
Oh no!
Head's in the corner, and I'm like, like choke. I'm like, bro, really? I'm like, okay.
Hey, it's good though. You was prepared.
Prepared for what? This ain't Call of Duty. This is real life. Like,
man, say.
I mean, I hope he alright. I may swing by his house. Hopefully, he don't pop me when I open the door. But
oh yeah, it's your fault.
Hey, whoa! I got text her. You going, man? Let's calm down.
It is definitely your fault. It is definitely.
Listen. I thought he could handle. For he roasts everybody and everything I know. So I mean, I figured he could handle a roast back.
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
That man's the biggest troll in America.
He do be trolling.
Like he is the biggest troll I know.
Yeah. But it is what it is. I don't know where Jarvis is at. He's probably not coming. Like he's probably like doing the same thing Fahim's doing, out hoeing. But let's get into it. Welcome back to another week of Word of Mouth, talking mental health, relationships, goals, etc., etc. Y'all know the deal. Like and subscribe to the channel. Link down below to all our platforms and links. So this week we're getting back into the OnlyFans conversation. This is going to be like a two-part type of thing, series, or I won't say series, but like 2 segments to it. So I'm going to get into it. I'm going to read something I saw in the roommates. It was a video I saw in the roommates, but I'm going to read the description. Shout out to the roommates. Like your content, like your stuff. But let me go ahead and read it. I've been depressed and suicidal because my mom's OnlyFans. I'm 13 and my mom is 33. Things at school were never great. I'm sort of short, so I get picked on some, but it wasn't manageable. That was until one of my classmates showed me a picture of my mom naked. I almost had a panic attack and I had to be excused from the class. I ended up showing up to school for a few days, faking sick. I was hoping that these would cool off, but they didn't. As soon as I got to school, almost everyone in my class was staring at me and laughing at me. This has been going on for about a week now. I was wondering how my classmates even got the pictures, and apparently my mom advertises her OnlyFans on her personal Twitter account. Some students from my school follow her, so they were able to see the news, and they have been spread everywhere. I don't even have Twitter, so I didn't know anything about this.
That's tough.
Now, his mom's response. I'm looking for his mom response because I'm kind of scrolling through the video. Okay, here. Okay, the worst part is that when I confronted my mom about this, she told me that I was overreacting, that sex work is basically the same thing as a bank or a grocery store. She also said it makes me feel good about herself and that I should be happy that she's more confident now. I told the principal, but they can't suspend thousands of students for take anyone's phones. I've been crying in my room every day for the past week. I don't think I can take it anymore. Yeah.
That's
so
tough.
Steve and Dante, y'all were not there, but Derek and Herb were there when I had this conversation. And you guys probably remember when Paris and Fahim said, like, nah, this is going to be the social norm, that kids are not going to make fun of other kids for that to happen. And I was like, I don't agree. I disagree. And this is personal proof why I don't care what century you're in. I don't care what time frame we're in. Sex work is only going to be acceptable for those people who are emotionally mature enough to handle it or really just don't care about it. Children are always going to make fun of other parents, moms who do stuff like that. Hell, they'll make fun of your parents now if they're not working a particular type of job. As when we were kids, it was like, oh, my dad's a janitor or he was a bus driver. It's like, oh yeah, cool, whatever, nobody cares. But let your parent be doing that job now. And now we got the sex worker part. And this is exactly what I knew was going to happen, even from a therapeutic standpoint. Kids are already getting bullied, like, to an extreme extent. But now what's happened is now you don't even want to take accountability to deal with your kid or what's going on with him. But now he has to deal with this at school, and he's suicidal. And God forbid, but it wouldn't surprise me if he ended his life behind this. And I knew this was going to happen. It's only going to get worse. Because the country's going to shut back down here in a minute. It's going to happen. People don't want to wear masks. We having a bunch of festivals like COVID now we got different variants. So people are going to go right back to OnlyFans. And now that people have been back, these kids have been back in school, they know how to find these things. They're going to go to Twitter. They're going to go to these different places. And that's exactly what's going to, and all they're going to do is text and bully. And let's be honest, at 10, 12, 13, 14, what are boys? We're a bunch of horny little creatures, and we're going to find it any type of way we can. Like, we had to deal with videos and magazines. They got the social media. They may not know the websites, like they may know a Pornhub, but they're gonna find it, and they can find it for free. And let's be honest, we might have had some hot moms with friends that we were like, damn, she's bad as fuck. Like, not even really understanding what we're saying. So now they even have the open opportunity now where it's like I can imagine myself with this guy's mom. And the fact that they're even bringing it to school and looking at it, what do you think they were doing with that?
So kind of like we talked about in that video with Fahim when we first covered this topic. As I said before, I stand by.
Hold on, who has the TV on?
Yeah, one of y'all have it.
I like it.
Okay.
All right. So as I was saying, kind of like I spoke about with when we had that conversation with Fahim and Paris and that call, at the end of the day, I don't care what you do with your life. If you want to go on OnlyFans and showcase your body, that's your decision. Your body, your choice. However, you have to, and this goes with anything you do in life. Whatever you do in life, you have to be able to live with the repercussions of the decisions you made.
But she doesn't see repercussions in it. She's not going to see repercussions. Like, her response was like, he should have been happy. So she's not going to see repercussions until he offers himself.
Giselle, again, I never said the repercussions have had to be directly affecting you. She, for everything you do, there's going to be a certain outcome. It may be a positive outcome or negative outcome, depending on how you see it. But you have to live with the decision that you personally made. And for her, if she went into this, thought this out, and said, you know what, I'm going to do this because for whatever reason, whether it was to provide, whether this is because of something she wants to do, if she said, again, she just may be someone that's selfish, who's like, well, I don't care if my kids think this is how I handle my business, this is why I put food on the table. I don't care if it affects my child. And unfortunately, you have some people out there who personally feel that, you know, whatever, it doesn't affect me, my kid to get through it. But again, for everything that you do, there's going to be an outcome to it. And if you accept the outcome, it's the same thing as accepting the risk. If you accept the risk, that's on you. Could I personally do that? Hell no. But again, you have a lot of people that come from different moral compasses. So unfortunately, I feel terrible for the kid because, again, just think about how we were back in high school and in the forms of bullying we went through that we didn't even know was bullying until we got older. It's like, it's a different ball game for us. Like social media, I mean, you had Facebook maybe just popping off, but to the depth of Instagram and how Twitter and stuff is to now, it wasn't at that point when we were in high school. So it's like now cyberbullying is a real thing. And unfortunately, if the mother doesn't care enough for her son to understand that and understand what he's going to have to go through, because again, once you put it on the internet, it's up there forever. I don't care how you delete it, how you scrub it, it's up there. So again, if she made the choice to accept that decision, that's on her.
But now she has mentally ruined her child for the rest of his life. He is ruined.
That is the outcome. You have to.
Can't hear you, Derek.
You can hear me.
It's hard to hear you. I can't hear Derek. I mean Dante. Excuse me. Oh yeah, like you're real muffled. He's having a little technical difficulty. He'll be back.
Sound better?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. AirPods, the third set of AirPods, I tell you that. Anyway, speaking from a parental standpoint, you know, that's a tough spot for him, for the son. But, you know, like Herb said, there's an outcome, right? But parents, that's where parents have to be responsible. And that's where the hard parenting comes in, where if something, you know, because we don't know her situation, you know, financial or whatever was going on, right? More than likely, it was probably a financial thing more than anything. I mean, she could have done anything else to raise her self-awareness or her self-esteem. But as far as financial, okay, you know, things are going on. People have lost their jobs and, you know, exponentially or exorbitantly at this point because of the pandemic. But the whole thing is when a person is a parent, they have to think about what they're doing and how that affects their children, not just immediate, but ultimate. Marion Barry is one of the biggest examples that I use. You know, his son died of drug overdose. I think it was either in the last year or this year. You know, Marion Barry was dealing with drugs when he was mayor of DC, and went through all that, you know, that whole scandal. And then his son ultimately died. Same thing with Whitney. You know, she died, then her daughter died. I've always told people, and one thing that I learned again is, you know, as wisdom as a parent is that I don't want the things that I do or struggle with to matriculate towards my children or to be relegated or whatever, to be, you know, that they end up dealing with. And so, you know, people do things and, you know, you look at one of my favorite movies of all time. When I first became a single father, I went and saw it, was Pursuit of Happiness. And, you know, he did what he had to do. Chris Gardner did what he had to do to make things happen. But there, at this point in the juncture, there's too many things out here that a person can do to make money that they don't have to do something like that. Because, like you said, she may not be dealing with it directly, but it's ultimately dealing with her son. Her son has to deal with it. And it is a different time. I mean, I graduated in 2000 from high school, so there was no Facebook, no whatever. It was, you know,
there was no Facebook when I graduated.
Yeah, I mean, that you know, there was nothing. And like you said, I mean, if us boys were looking at shit, it was on a VHS or we were, you know, on net zero dial-up, and, you know, you took 2 hours or 2 days to load one picture. But these cats now, these young cats, they, you know, they can pull that stuff up like that. And like Herb said, that stuff is on there forever in cyberspace. So a person as a parent, they have to think further than a person who, you know, who doesn't have children, who doesn't have to worry about that. But as a parent, they have to think further than them. It's not just about them, it's about their children. And at this point, I mean, I can only imagine because, you know, like I said, I grew up, you know, in the 80s and 90s. And I mean, now to see how kids commit suicide, we never did that back then. We weren't thinking about suicide. That was just something that we never even talked about. You know, people bully. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bully. And
everybody probably was bullied
and got over it. Yeah. And
everybody was a bully at some point. I don't care who you are. You were on the giving in and receiving in at some point in time based on the spectrum of what bullying is now.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, guys try to bully me. We fight, I whip their ass, and we move on. They realize, okay, because I've always been the shorter guy in the class, you know, and they knew, okay, you don't mess with him. But now I could never. It's unconscionable to me that how children think now, where and it's not even just a 13-year-old, 15, it's 8-year-olds. So that's my whole thing.
They're very advanced.
Very advanced. But she has failed as a parent. And honestly, I mean, you know, you get it, that's a whole nother arena when you talk about legal stuff, because I'm like, at this point.
Yeah, CPS could take her kids.
They need to step in.
Child custody to take her kids, and his dad could win full custody because you've altered his life to an extreme extent. And my thing is, like, fine, if you want to, I don't even care if you have one or make it. But now you've made one in a school area with a principal and all these people networking. So when the pandemic is over and you have to go get a real job, because that's gonna happen. I don't care how fine she is, unless she's like one of the top supremes, like everybody knows, like a porn star. What's that chick? It's somebody that she's always popping. Yeah, somebody like that, or like I think it's Miss B Nasty. She pops up on my timeline.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're unless you're on that level,
right?
You're not making that type of bread. And porn stars even say, like, the most popular ones say they don't really make that type of endorsements they used to, because porn is free everywhere. They don't have to buy it from the store. They don't have to buy this, like, and then you can buy from off-market stuff. There's so many things you can do. So unless you're at the top of your game, you're 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have to find regular work. Mm-hmm. And she's not gonna be able to find regular work near his school district, and with at least a 200-mile radius. Yeah.
To me, you know, it's not illegal what she did, but it's no different than if she went out and murdered somebody, if she went out and robbed a bank.
It's morally wrong.
There are repercussions that are long lasting.
But go ahead.
No, I was just saying, at this point, that's what she's done, is done something that, like you said, is long lasting at this point.
I always say there are men commit crimes that are legally wrong, but women commit crimes that are morally wrong. But you don't have to be accountable for morally wrong type of crimes. Yeah. Not to say men don't do both and they are immoral, but they're more on the lines of, like, I'll throw you under the bus for myself. And there's time against manipulation. Right. So what are your thoughts, Steve?
Well, I was actually gonna say the same thing. As far as, like, financially, well, actually, little statistics, as far as, like, the average online, like, OnlyFans worker, it says they only make about $180 a month. Like, whereas, like I said, average, you know, that's how much
$180?
$180. That's it for a month. Yeah. Wow. Now, it's because the thing is, it's not like they're like big celebrities. Like I said, there's so many of them now, it probably went down.
Well, I'm glad I changed my mind about making a page. So I wasn't doing it for money. I just want to do it for fun. I mean, yeah.
But what's funny is, the thing about it, you know, even though, like I said, you already know OnlyFans has, like, you know, pornographic sites and stuff like that. Thing is, all that isn't just porn. It's like actually people doing, like, it's just a content creator site. So I know when I looked it up, like, right. And when I looked it up, about, like, I think 3 of the people, they're literally just like content creators just doing, like, just regular stuff. Like, just because they have a fan base, like actors, they can literally get on there, make like $1 million just because they're who they are. They ain't got to show anything. They probably just talk about stuff. And that's who your top creators are. And they, you know, they're the ones that's making money, not the average ones. Like, and it was like you were saying, I say, you saying, you know, she looks good and everything, but again, if, you know, you don't know who she is, then she's probably making around like 180, 200.
She don't have she don't have a platform, so it doesn't make sense. That's why I said, like, it gotta be somebody like who, like Miss B Nasty. Like, Dante knew who I'm talking about. I remember her, like, she's been on there for almost 10 years, like from like 2010. I remember her, and she was just, that's what she wanted to do. That's who she was as a person. It was even before, like, there was a few women on there who were just doing for free because that's what they wanted to do. They were molested or raped or something happened to them, and they felt like that was giving them control back of their body, and that's fine, whatever. And they just enjoyed doing this, and for that, nobody judged them for that. Nobody cared. It's like, okay, cool. Right. They're not doing it for money. They're not doing anything. But then they saw monetization behind it, and then they moved into that space. nothing wrong with that.
At the same time, they probably don't have kids. Go ahead.
No, she has a child.
Oh, she has? Okay.
She has a child. I remember. But she was smart enough and diligent enough to remove her child for the most part, where like you have to really be doing some digging to go see him, and then all toddler pictures. So like 5-10 years from now, you're not gonna know. You know what I'm saying? If he doesn't say anything, you're really not gonna know the correlation with that. You know what I'm saying? On top of the fact, the women that were doing it back then, they were doing it for free. So it's already an indication they didn't need the money.
Right. And then this is another part. This is something else that got me. Why not? Like, if you actually needed that money, no matter how much it is, if you actually needed that money, why not communicate to your son that instead of saying, "Oh, this is just for me. This is for my confidence. You know, you should be happy for me." Why not communicate the fact that she's doing it, that she need money? So that's why I can't really sympathize with her at all.
My thing is, why don't you just make a completely different page and never put your face in it?
Exactly.
That too.
That's the biggest thing.
Like now, we're in a tattoo era now. Everybody got tattoos. I've wanted tattoos since I was a kid. So like maybe like if she had tattoos, like if I was to do something like that, I got feathers on my arms with smoke and all the other stuff. So if I would do something like that, it would be easily identifiable if I had that type of platform.
Well, you can blur. I mean, but there are people who blur their tats too.
Yeah. I mean, I know I can do that or wear the sleeves.
So I've heard. Now, I did have a page once. I ain't gonna lie. I had a Pornhub page years ago, and my face was never on it. And you know, my shit was blurred. So you know, and girls, you know, who were with me, or whatever. So that's the whole thing. Like, there's ways to do that to continue the anonymity. You know, I mean, my thing is if she's up there plastic, my thing is because I'm like, you know, like you said, be nasty. She got a toddler. Well, this woman has a 13-year-old who's in high school or middle school, high school. Kids are able to do whatever. They have their phones, whatever. So, and I'm sure she's dropping them off doing whatever. That's where the whole changes. It's like, okay, if he were young and couldn't say nothing, you know, that's one thing. But
like kids aren't even know any better at that age. You know what I'm saying? Now, in 10, 20 years from now, like we'll use an example. Let's say the kid is 3. In 10 years from now, she's gonna be like 40 or 50. I highly doubt she's gonna be doing that. And even if she did, it's like you're still not gonna know unless it comes out. You're not gonna know that's his mom. She's not gonna look the same. He's not gonna look the same. There's not gonna be no correlation there. On top of moving, people move away, people come back. Like it's a whole lot of different things that come into play where that's even more, that's kind of more acceptable. At the same time, she's removed them. I don't understand why you didn't make a whole different page to begin with. That's what I don't get. Jared,
and just kept her face off it. I mean, if she would have kept her face off it, you know, tats one thing, but if she would have just kept her face off, that at least would have had some type of wall of anonymity, at least, you know. But to be plastered all the way on there, like, come on, you know.
Now, Derek, what do you think about all this?
I remember. I think you all had great points. When I saw this article, I was laughing because I remember in school where the topic came up. It's like, dude, like, bruh, what would happen if you found out your parent was a porn star? Like, and everybody was like, I can't imagine being the kid whose parent was a porn star. And that, you know, she is. And it's amazing to know that we live in that world now. I mean, it's always been a thing, but I've never seen a kid or know about a kid that, you know, whose mom was a porn star.
Right.
But here we are now to where it's like, I mean, I get, you know, you have, like, you know, social media, you know, has connected us in ways that weren't possible, you know, 20, 30 years ago. But
think about it. I travel a lot. Like moving to California back to California in 2 weeks. I'll be in LA. I could literally be scrolling on my phone, see a girl on OnlyFans and see her walking down the street now.
Well, I guess that's the geographical thing too, like, you know, based on where you live, whatever. What amazed me was, now, if she would have said, like what Steve was saying, if she would have said something like, look, I'm not that smart. Like, and you know, people, like, I know that when I tried to, you know, before I graduated and stuff, when I tried to look for a job, I couldn't get hired at McDonald's. I couldn't get a job at McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like there's some people that fall through the cracks where you can't even get a job at some place like that. And, maybe while it's an immoral job to do, in her mind, she's the parent. She's like, this is what I can do to feed my kid. What's amazing is that when her 13-year-old came to talk to her, she's like,
She said she treated him like it's just
Hold on,
like
hold on,
like
hold
he's
on,
a
hold on,
man.
hold on.
Like you should be happy for me. Like, bro,
you
this
should
is
be
your
happy
kid.
for me.
This is not your man. Like what?
I'm
Crazy.
like, yo,
Crazy.
I'm your 13-year-old
man.
son. Like, what is wrong with you? So
Like,
she
I'm
had her
going to the
kid.
actual problem. Like,
She had her kid when she was 20, because she's 33, he's 13. I personally believe that you don't have yourself together in your 20s. You're an idiot in your 20s. You have no idea. Like, you have no idea. Okay,
Yeah,
you graduated. You can drink. You can rent a car.
Life
all
comes at
that
you
good
hard
stuff.
once you graduate.
You got your entry level job and stuff, but you have no idea. So hearing that at first, I did the what? But then I looked at the age. I was like, well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Given what she's doing and her response, yeah, that makes sense. In her mind, she's like, she didn't even mention the fact that, hey, I'm doing this for us. Like, I'm not that smart. I'm not that capable. This is what I can do. I'm sorry. It's a terrible habit, but you know what? We're going to take that money. We're going to invest it in something. We're going to grow wealth. We're not going to just, because it's diminishing returns.
right.
It's diminishing returns. Yeah, she's the hot stuff now.
But even if let's say we're assuming she is attractive.
What? Yes, with the assumption that she's attractive.
But think about it. At 13, if you
and not a fetish.
But I'm saying let's say at 13, what you were attracted to at 13 as far as older women, you're not attracted to now. Not even close. Like, especially at 13, you're pretty much anybody who's going to give it to you, you would have taken it. Just about. At 13. Because your hormones are going crazy and it is what it is. So we don't even really know if she's that attractive or they're really just making fun of him. Like, they might even be doing nothing with the content. What we think we're assuming the best in a worst case scenario, and it could really be just a shitty scenario all the way around. Like, she could be some disgusting looking thing that just is fun to make fun of. Yeah. On top of the fact, she at 33, she would make more joining the military as a reservist than she would.
That's what I'm saying. I was like,
just based on what Steve said, at $180, like, even at the lowest rank, I think they make $200 a month, once a month for 2 days out the month.
Look, in her mind, she feels as though this is the best. This is quick money. This is something that she can do to build her Okay,
but content creation is not. No, content creation is not even easy, bro. Like, this content creation is not easy at all.
I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is, but we're talking about someone who, in her world, in her mind, she thinks that this is a great decision.
As somebody who's done both, it's easier to join the military. I swear to you, it is easier than content creation. Like, Herb has been, like, y'all don't know, but Herb has been helping me tremendously with the what I should do with the videos. This is why this is in gallery settings now. Like, having to find the topics, having to go through the social media every day, post comments, make up these. It is a lot of work. This is a full-time job, and there's no way in hell I be working a full-time job for $180 a month. There's no way in hell I be working a full-time job for $500 a month. You put in, I'm telling you right now, like, even as somebody who had an undergraduate in digital media, like, I can run these programs from front to back easily. Like, even when I take the test on Indeed, it says I'm highly proficient in this stuff. But it still takes me at least 30 minutes to an hour to read, to sift through the videos, look to see what's being taken out, what's edited, what's going to make people look bad if it's set out of context or it's wrong, to add music, there's to add all this other stuff, to do all these different mechanics that come along with it. It is not an easy job doing video editing or doing doing content creation in the slightest. And then we're just talking about, like, recording is easy, it's fine, but we're not even talking about like having to come up with a
And be right
thumbnail
back.
that's captioned. We're not talking about the text part. We're not talking about any of that. So what is she doing?
On her.
Thank you for your support. We appreciate you tuning in weekly for our daily updates, talking relationship goals, etc., etc. Y'all know the deal. Continue to look in and like, subscribe. Make sure to tell us what you want to see in the next videos or things we should talk about. But now available on our website, Top Dog Get Fought For t-shirts. Just click on the word of mouth link in our description, click on shop, scroll down to apparel, then click on learn more. This is where you can find all our word of mouth gear. And this is word of mouth. Peace.
Mm.